All right. Shalom, welcome to the lesson. I do want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua Bahashim Kakadash, double honor to our apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us the truth. Peace and blessing to the sincere archives that's pushing the truth and our truth of sincerity around the four corners of the earth. Didn't lead to us to Shalom. Okay, I'm the brother Ariel from the Great Millstone Miami camp. I come back to the spirit power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua and make another lesson. Okay, in this lesson, I'll be going to how, the change is coming. We up next. Okay, and this lesson was, inspired by, us, doing the Passover yesterday, holding the Passover yesterday. And, you're supposed to eat the bitter herb, which is the horseradish. And, everyone was, we was prepared, after the service to eat the horseradish. And it wasn't bitter. Okay, no brother. Well, I think it's only one brother that it was bitter for, but everybody else, the horseradish wasn't bitter for it, man. It was like just chewing, regular regular herb, man. Okay, and brothers just found that so spiritual, and it was because, every time we would eat it, okay, for the past years, it would be bitter. Okay, soon as you bite into it, okay, your nose start burning, and all these things showing the bitterness of Egypt. Okay, what we went through as a people, but the fact that we're not tasting that anymore should it's a clear sign that we are almost out of here. All right, and that change is coming, man. That change of power, okay, change of rulership is coming. Esau's kingdom, which is America, Babylon, is coming down. Okay, his way of ruling is coming to an end. All right, and he knows that. That's why he's trying to, do certain things to prolong it. But obviously, he's just moving to the, moving to the tone of prophecy. All right, but there's a change coming. And that change is going to be, needed. In the face of the earth because of all the unrighteousness, and how Esau was, ruling the earth. There's a change that needs to happen, man. Okay, seeing how Esau was ruling, the people were mourning. Scriptures say, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, and the people have been mourning. Okay, they have been mourning. Okay, even the men of the Lord has been mourning. So that change is going to happen soon, man. But that's where I got the title of this lesson from because brothers was very elated. Was very excited that we all experienced that feeling, man. Okay, of that horseradish not being as bitter. All right, and we just connected to it, connected the dots to the spirit, and realized that hey, we almost out of here, man. Okay, and hopefully that was the last Passover that we had to do through the spirit. Okay, but I had a few precepts lined up. Low one lesson is edifying. I'm gonna start with Luke. Like you. I'm gonna start with Luke 21. I'm start at verse 25, and it says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring." That's right, man. And we are seeing those signs, man. All right, and it says, "Men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory." Right, man, coming. Once they see all these things happen, the signs in the moon, people gonna be scared, man. All right, and then they gonna see, Son of Man, Yahweh Shai coming in a cloud, that chariot, and with power and great glory. And it says that when these things come to pass, then look up and lift your head. Your redemption draws nigh. That's right, man. Your redemption does drive nigh. Okay, once you see all these things past, happening, these signs, all right, these wars, these, pestilence, as you just said, there's a new variant that's about to come out. Okay. There's a new variant, of COVID that's not about to come out. So, the Lord is speeding up the times, man. All right. Jumping on to 2nd Esdras 6. Verse 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, right now, okay, we are at the end of the world, man. You can ask, all right, a regular person, all right, that, what times we in, and a lot of people gonna say that, we are at the end of the world. Or you can just ask somebody, are we at the end of the world? And they're gonna say yes. Okay, because of the events that are happening, all right, people are seeing, a change in times, a change in things that are happening, and they are realizing that, okay, it's inevitable. All right, we are at the end of the world. Okay, a change of power is happening through the spirit. Esau was ruling, but now, okay, his time is almost up. And his time is up. All right, and Jacob, Israel. All right, we up next, starting with the 144 and Yahushai. All right, that's who's up next. That's who's gonna come and rule and really put peace on the earth. Okay, and really set us up, so that we are ruling on the face of the earth, man. And that's that change that we want, man. That's that new power. Okay, that's that new rulership that we want, man. True peace, man. Because without that happening, Esau's gonna come and pollute the earth even more, man. Make situations even more worse. All right. Continuing on, 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 51, and it says, behold, I'll show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we all shall be changed. And that's right, man. Okay. Not everybody's gonna have to, be immortal for Yahweh Shai. Okay, but we are going to be changed. Okay. Scripture's talking about, in the blinking of an eye. All right, so brothers, brothers are gonna be changed, man. All right, you're gonna receive that power, brothers. Some brothers gonna receive spiritual power. Okay, those that did die for your house are gonna be beamed up first. All right, and the man that did it, man, you gonna get beamed up and changed in those chariots. All right, and it says, in the moment, the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. That's right, man. Okay. Those that died for Yahushua are going to be, risen. All right. We shall be changed because understand that, these bodies that we have are not are not fit to be in the chariots. All right. You need an incorruptible body to be in those chariots, man. Because, the chariots come from the heavens. All right. You're not going to be in the chariots and, in a mortal body. All right. It don't make sense. Okay. But, understanding that, that change is coming. All these talks about us getting change and change and us getting spiritual power. All right, Esau already put it in, in their movie Super Speed, Super Flight. Where do you get that from? He gets it from the scriptures. Okay, Esau gets majority of his inspirations of these movies of powers and things like that from the scriptures. All right, and sooner or later, we're gonna be changed and we're gonna be those superheroes, man. All right, we're gonna be the ones being able to, have super speed and fly and be invisible. All right, we don't know what the Lord's gonna do for us, man. When Esau come as a flood. All right, and that's another instance too that you can be changed. The Lord can allow you to be invincible or have super speed to escape Esau. Okay, when he come and try to persecute you. All right, so brothers, understand that that change is coming. All right, and it is needed. All right, and I got one more precept, lined up. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. Okay. This is Proverbs 29, verse 2. And it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And that's right, man. And you can ask anybody now, are people rejoicing? No, man. All right, gas is up, inflation. Okay, things have changed. All right, then like the rulership of the of the so-called king that is ruling, right now, the the ongoing president. All right, so there's a lot of mourning, man. Okay, nobody really rejoicing in America. All right. All this is vexation. And people, people are mad. They are mad at Trump for making all these decisions. All right, but sooner or later that change is gonna come, and that righteous, ruler is gonna come back, man, which is Yahushua. All right. Scripture talking about how the saints shall take the kingdom. All right. Let me grab that. This is Daniel 7, verse 8, and it says, 18, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it forever, even forever and ever. And that's right, man. The saints are going to take the kingdom. And who are the saints? Saints are the Israelites, man. Okay, the Israelites are going to come and take the kingdom. And starting with ultimately with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, he's coming back. Yahweh Shai is coming back to take the kingdom from this devil. All right, because he's not going to just give it up easily. And that's not how it goes, man. With every kingdom that ruled on the face of the earth, it was always through war or the fall of that kingdom, and the upcoming of a new kingdom through war. And that's how that new kingdom was established. All right, it wasn't just given, so easily. Okay, so Yahushua is not going to take it easy. Well, for Yahushua, it's going to be easy, but Esau's not going to give it up easily, man, because he understands that he's at the end. Esau sees the change, in things, man. He just doesn't want to believe it, and just that's just going to the spirit of Pharaoh too as well, because Pharaoh saw the works of the Lord. Okay, Pharaoh saw what what the Lord was doing to the Egyptians and to the crops. All right, into the water. All right. So that's the same spirit Esau in, man. Okay, he see all the things that the Lord is doing. Okay, but he's in denial, man. But it's just going to get to a point where it's just going to be too much, and he's going to have to accept it for what it is, man. And give Yahweh Shai that rulership. All right. So Ayakim, low lesson is edifying. Okay, the title of the lesson is going to be, a change is coming. We up next, man. All right, so low one's lesson is edifying. With that, I do want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kakodash, double honor to our apostles and elders for great mills when they taught us his truth. Peace and blessing to the sincere Akims. With that, I do want to say shalom.